Hello everyone and welcome to East Coast Bake. This is the first episode in a new 10-part series, AI versus Cookie. I'll be baking, tasting, and rating 10 cookie recipes that were completely generated by AI. We'll be starting this series with a cookie recipe that will surely lead us into a false sense of safety, the blueberry cornbread cookie. Let's get right into it.
I'm sifting together fine yellow cornmeal, all-purpose flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. Next, we're going to cream together softened butter, white sugar, and brown sugar, 1 egg, vanilla extract, and honey for a depth of flavor. Combining dry ingredients slowly, white chocolate chips, and pre-rinsed frozen blueberries. Rolling cookie dough balls to be placed in a food-safe container and cooled for at least 30 minutes in the fridge.
This was for sure one of the messiest recipes I've ever made. The blueberries, as they started to thaw, made it very challenging to form the dough together. The juice from the blueberries kept coating the dough as I was handling it. So because of this, I'm a little bit concerned about how the cookies are going to spread in the oven. I'm not only going to bake some on a standard cookie sheet, but I'm going to bake some within the silicone round molds. I think these will just make it a little bit easier to contain the cookie dough. But we'll see. With this type of recipe, anything can happen. I would also like to mention that these cookies were baked at 350 degrees for 17 minutes. This recipe, I made 14 cookies. So these are our blueberry cornbread cookies. I've separated them into two different rows. These ones right here were made on the cookie sheet, and these two over here were baked in the silicone rounds. Visually, there's not much of a difference between the two. They both spread out pretty evenly. The two cookies up front, however, were formed while the blueberries were still relatively frozen, and the cookies in the back were a little bit towards the end when the blueberries started to release a lot of their moisture and started to blend in with the rest of the dough. For the cookies that were formed near the beginning, you can see I'm able to pick them up. They've got a pretty good brown bottom and are very well formed. However, the back row, whenever I try to pick them up, they tend to essentially collapse in on themselves. It's very difficult for me to pick them up without supporting the bottom here. I'll try to see if I can get a look at the bottom. So pretty good brown bottom. Looks like it was well cooked, but still very soft from all the moisture from the blueberry. See if we can get a cross section of this here. We'll go ahead and taste them. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure that the taste will be much of an issue. I think it's going to be mainly the texture. So no big surprise, they taste fantastic. I'm not getting a whole lot of the grit from the cornmeal. Honestly, I'm not getting a whole lot of the flavor either. I'm getting a lot of the blueberry and a lot of the creaminess and the sweetness from the white chocolate that we added. A little bit of the texture from the cornmeal, but very little. Crisp exterior, fudgy interior, very soft, very good. I'm gonna try to get a taste of this one back here. Try to actually get a cross section as well. Okay, not too bad. All right, let's see how this one tastes. So just as I expected, a lot of the moisture from the blueberries is making this a bit of a soggier cookie. However, it still has a bit of form to it, and it tastes great. There's not a big difference in the texture from the other cookie, other than that bit of moisture coming from the blueberries. Would I make this again? I think I would. This is a very good cookie, and it has a lot of good flavors. This was definitely a good cookie to start out the series with. Like I said, it's probably gonna lead us into a bit of a false sense of safety, but I think this was a great cookie. I would definitely make it again and highly recommend it. Thank you for joining me on this first recipe. 9 more to go. We'll see you next time.